Well, Ken, this rain we had overnight could have been snow, but it wasn't.
No,
it wasn't in our area. How about you?
No, it's actually warmed up this morning a bit because it was pretty close to freezing over the night. And like you say, with rain and freezing, you kind of do end up with sleet or snow or something. This morning I think it was about 4 or 5 degrees this morning, not too bad, you know.
But the night before, it did freeze. The night before, there was lots of frost on the roof, whatnot. Well, and that's some of the things we have to deal with at this time of year. It is fall, going into winter, and this is the Garden Show, and this is the time when we do our tips and plants of the week.
You betcha.
Well, my tip of the week, 2 things to do before it freezes up. Keep a couple of bags of mulch somewhere where it won't get frozen solid in case it's needed to protect something in the middle of the winter. Nothing like going out to the shed to get some mulch to cover some bulbs that are poking through the ground or something like that, and you can't have it because it's frozen. Now, of course, we're talking mainly Okanagan here, although you do get some frost in Victoria, and we appreciate that, but not like it is here. Here, it can freeze up, and that bag of mulch you can't use. So that's what I say. Put that away. The other thing is get at least one garden hose empty.
Yep.
Empty one garden hose so that you've got it there, an empty garden hose. I mean, there's all sorts of reasons why you might want to fire up a garden hose in the middle of the winter.
Absolutely.
Fire would be one of them. You might have a fire and something or going on or whatever, But you might need a garden hose. Of course, you got your frost-free plugs or your frost-free taps, and keep a garden hose close to that and keep it drained.
You betcha. Yeah, and keep it disconnected until you need it. That's another tip. That's another tip for another
Keep
day.
it disconnected until you need it.
Yep.
My plant of the week is the beautiful Acer rubrum. The ones that are growing, the autumn spire that are growing right now. They're turning red. They look beautiful. Let's talk about them turning red. They don't really turn red, do they?
Gorgeous. Yeah, sort of. All right, I also have a tip on a plant this week. My tip of the week is that if you want to grow a tree or a shrub or any hardy plant from seed, you're best to collect that seed in the fall and then plant it in the fall. So you put it into the ground right now at this time of year, and like the month of October is ideal. And what the seed does is it knows it's not going to germinate until after a winter. So some people collect the seed, put it in their house where it's warm, and then keep it there all winter. And, of course, it'll never germinate because it hasn't received its winter yet. So planting them out in the fall is the way to get those things up and sprouting in the spring. Straight outside is the way to go, and you can have quite good success growing trees and shrubs by seed. All right, now my plant of the week this week is one of these beautiful grasses that we do see around. We've got a lot of ornamental grasses right now, and in the fall, that's when they're in their glory, and they're starting to put on plumes and all kinds of things. And this is one of the bigger grasses. It's called the Miscanthus Goliath. The Goliath ornamental grass. It's huge. It's about 8 feet high on average, but it's quite wide, and it spreads to about a 10-foot width. But it's just so beautiful. The plumes on top are the nice burgundy sort of color. And right now they're actually starting to turn a real bright yellowy orange color for their fall colors. So they're really quite a colorful fall attraction. So there you go. That's my tips and plants for this week. Remember to check growercoach.com and Grower Coach on YouTube. And don't forget to like and subscribe.
That's right. Like and subscribe. Ken, you talked about... you were stratifying the seed, right? There's two terms there that sometimes people get mixed up: stratification and scarification. Scarifying your seed means you take a little knife or something and scar it so that it will open easier. Stratifying is, there's many different ways to do that, but just one is just leaving the seed outside over the winter. Yeah,
and that scarification, it allows water to get into the seed often, and it starts the process, gets the hormones inside the seed reacting and putting pressure on it to expand and start to grow. And so you wouldn't really want to be doing that at this time of year, but you can definitely do that at different times of the year. And I just put a little video out in regards to growing seeds and planting them at this time of year, these hardy plants. But, one of the things you can also do is you can collect your seed and put it into a refrigerator or a freezer and keep it over winter. And that would be kind of ideal in the springtime, is to take those, what we would call stratified seeds, so seed that has received its winter, pull it out and then scarify it. If it's a seed with a real hard shell, use a little file and just put a little nick in that seed. That gets even if it just thins the shell a bit, it allows the water to get in and gets those things going. And that can give you a head start.
Like cracking an egg for the little chick to get out.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Okay. We are welcoming Ariel. Good morning, Ariel. You're up bright and squirrely this morning.
Don't talk about squirrels.
No squirrels.
Do not talk about freaking squirrels. I tell you what, I'm in a murderous rage about those guys.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
SPCA coming up.
Yeah, right. Hey, hoses. Okay, so I can leave my hose out. I've got it disconnected, but I can leave it out during the winter, right?
Well, yeah, the key is don't leave it in the sunshine, even though we don't get a lot of sun, but it's enough to harden the hose over winter. So you kind of hide it on the north side of the house, but the key is just emptying it, as Dawn was just saying, is just make sure you take the water out of it and then put it on the north side of the house, somewhere where it's out of the sun, and that just preserves it so it doesn't become hard and crunchy.
Oh, okay.
And to get the water out, you can either put a if you got some kind of a compressor, but you probably don't. But if you can blow it out. But the best way with a garden hose is just get a short ladder, get up a couple of rungs, and then just start pulling the hose up from one end of the hose. And as you pull it up, the water will go out the other end, and it'll drain.
Well, thank you very much. The other thing that I have to tell you is that, for the few years that I've been here, I've noticed marshmallow, Althea officinalis, growing around. And this past year, probably because of the squirrels, I wouldn't mind betting, but I had different plants popping up all over the place, and I thought, I'm going to let them grow. They are the most beautiful plants. They are, seriously, they're 5 feet tall.
Yeah, these are like the hollyhocks, right? Some type of hollyhock, or is it the shorter one?
It's the Althea officinalis. It's the
mallow.
One. Yeah,
with the double
mallow plants.
Yeah.
So anyway, I got to tell you an interesting thing. I had a flare-up of diverticulitis, and it was really painful. And I went outside and I got some leaves. I got a whole pile of leaves, and I put it in just plain water and sat it on the counter for a few hours, actually, because I knew I couldn't just do it right away.
These are the mallow leaves?
Yes, the mallow leaves, and you stick them in, and then the water turns a little bit sort of greeny color. You know what? I drank that, and I'll tell you what, the pain went right away.
Interesting. Did you read about that prior? Obviously, you must have found out something.
I'm a herbalist. I've been doing that for years and talked about it and used to lecture about it. But I've never had them grow like this. I mean, they are absolutely. I just send you a picture. I send you guys a picture of them because they're just incredible.
Sure, sounds great.
Beautiful plants. Anyway, there you go. That's my rave for the day.
Right on. There you go. Thanks for the call. We always appreciate hearing from you, Ariel. You take care.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for calling. Bye-bye. There you go.
When we were talking about the beautiful Acer rubrum, the fall color. We've mentioned this before, but it's worth mentioning again. And I mentioned it to my son-in-law the other day when I was driving him to the airport. They don't turn red. They're red already.
They're already red.
The chlorophyll leaves.
The green goes out.
The green goes away.
The green
goes away.
Exposes
the red.
Yeah, exposes what's left, the color that was already there. But yeah, it is. It is an interesting process that happens, and then that chlorophyll is recycled, so it's reused and absorbed into the branches and stems, and held there over the wintertime. And then when the new leaves come out in the spring, it goes back into the leaves, so it's recycled, which is really quite a cool phenomenon, really. That trees can actually do that. And that's one of these things with pruning and removing a bunch of wood off of a plant, is that, you are removing some of this of its ability to kind of survive the winter not just chlorophyll, but some sugars, carbohydrates as well that help that plant, get going in the springtime and survive the winter ultimately. So, it's an interesting.
And if they're a little bit
process.
Marginal, then that's even creates more of a problem.
The sugars and the carbohydrates almost act like an antifreeze in the plant, that if when the cells, the cells, what each cell actually does is it'll push out the water and keep in the carbohydrates or the sugars. So then inside the cell it becomes concentrated sugars, where that generally can't freeze. Yeah. But in between the cells, the water can freeze if it has to, and it can cause some issues with that happening, but generally that's the way it's supposed to work, and generally it works. But depends on the plant and depends where the plant is from. And so, I just finished doing a talk on that about how, it's all about the provenance or where that plant originated from. In its DNA is a sort of a pattern of the previous, couple hundred years of weather conditions, and the plant sort of adapting to those conditions. And as soon as you take a plant, let's say that's a Zone 9 plant that would normally grow in coastal regions, and you bring it here to the Okanagan into Zone 6, that means we're much colder. Those plants just are not used to those severe conditions and those changes, maybe for a few minutes, but not for weeks on end of cold. And so that's why those plants freeze out. So anyway, it's a fascinating study, and it's something that
interesting to think about that. The physiology of plants that are winter hardy, and some are winter hardy up in the Yukon,
Yes.
And plants that can't take a degree of frost. And some plants can't even take 10 degrees of Celsius because they want to be warmer than that.
Yeah, those tropical plants don't like to go below 10 degrees Celsius. So remember that in Celsius, 0 is freezing, and so 10 degrees would be 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah. And so that's still in when we look out the door here, out the window, and we see it at 4 degrees today, 10 degrees would be really nice right now. Yeah. But in the middle of summer, it's not so great. Right. And these tropicals, they would rarely get down that cold where they're from.
The interesting thing that I was talking to Dan Bruce the other day, he came by, and we were looking at one of my unique tomatoes that my cousin Ross McLeod gives me every year. He gives me some unique tomatoes. There's one that's just purple as you can get. Yeah. And he said, boy, there's people that'd be afraid to eat that one. And I said, yeah, right, because it looked like deadly nightshade because it's related, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that's why tomatoes for many years were thought to be poisonous, because they were related to deadly nightshade. Well, there you have it. My apple cider vinegar, Ken, last year, talking to Pam on the radio when she called in, we were talking about drying apples, and I had all these peels left. Yep. I used all the peels and whatnot, and I made 2 nice jars of apple cider vinegar. It's turned out fabulous. I take a tablespoon of it every morning.
Oh, nice.
I think I've started to grow some hair.
Well, there you go.
All of a sudden, my hair is growing.
It looks a little darker to me, too. It's not Snow White.
We've just been given the signal because we've just been blabbing away, and we're past the time we got to take a break. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back with the Garden Show after this short break. We are back with you, and just a reminder, the Vancouver Canucks are playing tonight. They're playing against Pittsburgh, and the Boston Bruins are in Toronto. So
a couple good games there.
Good games going on. Don and I kind of got wrapped up in hockey. I can't believe it. I think the Hodges and our now deceased friend Al kind of got us going on hockey last year. And, we're looking forward to another season. Out in the garden, Ken, I've been cleaning up, tidying up, and I actually got my garlic in a few days ago.
Oh, there
so
you
it wasn't
go.
too late. You say, if you can get it in October, you're doing okay.
You're doing all right. You bet.
Yeah, you betcha. Well, I want to again emphasize that this trip to Seattle is happening in February, and that folks, I'm not sure if the Victoria folks could join us. They could by getting to Abbotsford, because we go through Abbotsford to go head down. If you wanted to join us, I'm sure they could arrange the Victoria people to hop on the bus with us. We have a great time down there, and the show is considered one of the best, if not the best, flower and garden festival in North America. And Ken and I have been there several times, and every year we go. This will be the 18th trip to the Seattle Northwest Flower and Garden Show. So if you really want to have some fun this February for a few days, get out of town and go down and see the show. It's February 20th to the 23rd, and you want to call Sun Fun Tours and get on the bus. You can call them by phoning 250-763-6133, or just go to the Sun Fun Tours website and you can book in from there.
Yeah, so it's a bus trip that originates from Kelowna area, but it does stop and pick up people along the way.
Picks up Vernon people, Penticton people, Kamloops people, and Merritt people, and we've had a couple from Chilliwack that hop on when we go through.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they could arrange to have the island people. It'd be fun to have you on the bus with us.
Yeah, you betcha. And it's amazing, the landscape displays, if nothing else, are breathtaking and amazing, and it's all indoors, which is fascinating. Huge hall.
What's a big conference convention center, and the rocks they bring in there, some of them are the size of a car.
Oh yeah,
they're huge boulders and whatnot. There's quite something.
How they do it, unbelievable.
Well, yeah, it'd be nice to go there a few days. Well, it takes about a week and a half for them to set everything up, but it'd be nice to go there a few days beforehand and watch them set it up. Although they do have that movie that
they still have that
time-lapse movie showing the setup. It's quite something.
Yeah, they time-lapse the whole thing. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So we're drying apples, Ken. We got our pears dried, and I was going to bring a bag in for you, actually, some apples. I like the pears better, although you have to be careful with anything you're drying to not overdo it. I mean, dry is dry, but crisp is a little bit too dry, too chewy. But I found that if you do overdo it by accident, leave them on too long and kind of make them too dry, just put a raw apple, like just a regular piece of fresh apple in the bag, and overnight those pears will just moisten right back up again.
Yeah, and if they do get super crispy too, remember you can pulverize them in a coffee grinder and then use that as a additive just for flavor, right, into different things, and you still get the best of the flavors.
Ken, we were talking last week about drying, and we were talking about drying celery. And by the way, that celery was delicious that you gave us. It was just fabulous.
Yeah.
But we were talking about drying, and somebody said, "Oh, you can't dry celery." You can dry celery. The leaves, the foliage, and it's so celery smelling.
Oh, yeah.
So I've chopped it up in a coffee grinder into a powder.
Yeah, perfect.
And a powder, and so you can add a celery flavor. Celery salt.
There you go. Well, then that's the foliage, too. It's very strong flavored. It's really the stems, and I actually had somebody send me an email saying that they would blanch it first. So they would always blanch the celery before they dried it.
Okay.
And so that it had that. I'm not sure what it would do, but remember, you got to watch it minute by minute to know when to stop. Because we dried a bunch last year. Every year we have an abundance of celery left over. And so, but we dried a whole bunch, and they ended up, each piece, even though they were, inch and a half when we started, and we just cubed them or cut them into slices like you normally would with celery, and each piece ended up being about 1/4 of an inch by 1/4 of an inch. So substantial. In other words, all that was left was the fiber. I think we dried it a little bit too much, but then out of all the celery that we had left over, which was, you saw how big they were, the 15 pounds each.
How many of those bunches do you grow?
This year we cut it back to, I think, about 12 or 13.
Okay.
But the previous year we had about 20. And it's a lot. But anyway, we dried it up, and it was it turned into literally these little hard little rocks. And we should have, and if we have any left, I think that's a good idea, is to pulverize it and make something out of it that way. But putting it into soups and that sort of thing, it wouldn't really hydrate much. Like, it would get soft enough you could eat it. You couldn't really detect the flavor much. It wasn't like it was strong flavor. But I think pulverizing it would be the way to go. But I liked your idea of using the greens and drying those.
A lot of flavor in them.
Yes. And, thinking of lovage, too, which is literally just a humongous celery plant. It's not the same in a bunch of ways, but it's celery times 20. It's way more potent. And taking some of that and doing the same thing, drying it and then pulverizing it to add for celery flavor. Great idea. I mean, I think that can work.
No, I'm excited about it. Just a belated happy birthday to Teresa Hodge. We went out to a nice Friday night get together last week, and I forgot the date. The next day, I had it written on here. Wish Teresa a happy birthday on the radio. It's a milestone for her this time. It's a milestone birthday. Nice. And she'll be getting some government checks, too.
Oh, there you go. Well, happy birthday, Teresa.
Nice. Great. 250-862-2525 if you want to reach us today, because we're here waiting for your calls. 1-888-780-4273. If you're calling from out of town, in Victoria area, or anywhere listening online, give us a call. That's a toll-free number, and we will answer your gardening questions. Is this a good time of the year to pull out the fixed copper, Ken? What I like to do, and I've done a lot of fixed copper applications for years and years, but it's soft fruits predominantly that need the copper application, and it is like a prophylactic spray for the winter to prevent the diseases from just ravaging the plants. When plants are dormant, they have no ability to outgrow any problems, so the diseases tend to take over, and the diseases often like the cool temperatures and sometimes the humid conditions of winter that can attack your plants, and particularly soft fruits. So the general rule is to try to give them a shot of copper while the leaves are still on the tree, and that helps to just coat and reduce these diseases that might be proliferating from the foliage. And then once all the leaves are off the tree, then do a follow-up spray with another coating, and you coat all the branches with the fixed copper product, copper spray, and that really, really makes a big difference over the wintertime. And then in the spring, again, it's always these weather conditions that trigger the diseases as well. I if at all possible, follow up in the springtime with the lime sulfur dormant oil application in the springtime. Just no lime sulfur on apricots. That's the rule. Right.
But all other soft fruits, you're good to go. It's just apricots do not like
They're good.
Lime sulfur.
These two applications are a good, safe methodology too when you're working with the garden. We're going to take a short break here. We got Dan Bruce waiting in the corner. I don't know what corner he's in, but he's in a corner somewhere.
We got him cornered.
We got him cornered, and we will talk to Dan when we come back with more of the Garden Show after this short break. Well, here we are back with you on a beautiful Saturday morning. It's not too cold today, a little warming up a little bit from the night before, and high overcast here in the Okanagan. I'm not sure what it's like in Victoria, but I know that it's probably lovely. And we have our friend Dan Bruce joining us. Good morning, Dan.
Good morning.
Morning, Dan.
Well, it is raining here.
Oh, good.
Nice.
In my book, that's a good thing.
Well, it is a good thing, and I hope it's snowing up in the hills. I hope it's snowing like crazy. I want to see big snowpack this year.
Yes. Well, then, moisture of any kind is good.
Yeah.
Anyway, moisture or not, there's a sudden outburst of red flowers all over Kelowna in people's lapels,
yes,
jackets, and caps, and wherever. And they
yep, poppy season has started.
Botanically, it represents Roeas, Papaver Roeas.
Okay.
Which is the common, what they call field poppy or corn poppy.
Is it native to somewhere?
Well, yes, but we're not quite sure where. Possibly southern Europe, southeast Europe, somewhere. It's an annual plant that is one of those things where the seed is very long-lived, and I mean it can lie dormant in the ground and not do anything for years and years and years, and then suddenly, when conditions are right, up it comes and flowers, and then sets seed, sets the whole cycle going again. But one of the things about it that makes conditions right is that it likes to be in disturbed soil. So, along with things like
knapweed?
Knapweed. Yeah, I was trying to something quickly
that likes those conditions.
That word, but verbascum is the same thing. You know, those tall, woolly leaf things that grow along roadsides.
Yep.
They do really well when the soil has been disturbed in some way. So road building disturbs the soil, and of course, in Europe, the First World War kind of had the same effect. It disturbed the soil.
Right, of course, yeah.
And but this, I mean, the poppy campaign that we're dealing with right now started after the First World War. It was John McCrae, I think it was I'm pretty sure he was a Canadian poet who wrote the In Flanders Fields poem.
Yes.
And then an American woman, Moina Michael, sort of got inspired by that, and she got the poppy campaign going, you know, using artificial poppies with pins or wire through them, and that spread particularly throughout the Commonwealth. But the sudden flush of flowers growing out of disturbed soil was noted way back when, 1693, in Holland, where William, Prince of Orange, was fighting with the French, and Neerwinden, and I've probably not pronounced that right either, but no doubt Dutch friends will phone me.
Yeah.
Neerwinden, 1693, William, Prince of Orange, suffered a fairly disastrous defeat at the hands of the French, lost 10,000 men.
Ooh.
Wow.
But then, thereafter, the following year, the area was covered in these red flowers.
And
so that...
then poppy, they were poppies.
Yes.
Okay.
The
yeah.
same common poppy.
Yeah.
The habit of the plant was noted. It was actually quite obvious at that time.
So actually stimulated by the battle itself, they disturbed the soils, thus bringing the seeds up, and the seeds had an opportunity to grow.
I've never thought of that connection before. That's very cool. Dan, we're going to have to run here because we've got some calls coming in. We do want to look after them, but we always appreciate your input, and I'm going to think about the poppy a little bit differently now.
Well, make sure and buy one, and
yes.
Be careful when you put it on. Don't stab the pin in.
I know. I've done that so many times, and and you got to wear it over the heart. You don't wear it on your hat or on your shirt sleeve, or you're supposed to wear it on your chest, on the heart.
Wear it.
Just wear it. Okay, I got you. Thanks, Dan.
Okay.
Take care.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye. Yeah. Fascinating story. That's
it
really
is.
cool.
Yeah. It is. It's been around a long time now. Phyllis is joining us. Good morning, Phyllis.
Good morning, Dawn and Ken.
Good morning.
I'm calling from Oyama.
Right on.
Awesome.
Anyway, a couple of questions. I've got a weeping Norway spruce that has definitely shot out over my driveway this summer. Can I take and cut some of that back now, or should I wait until spring?
Well, with spruces, they would prefer to be cut in the springtime. You could still plants. They're kind of, sometimes they're going to get pruned when they get pruned, but what they say with conifers, anything that's a conifer group, and spruces are in that group, is they're always best pruned in the springtime, likely sometime around middle of March or so is good timing, and you can just go ahead and cut that thing back. What they do with these weeping spruces, what will happen is they kind of start growing what they call serpentine, and it's where they kind of just snake upwards a little bit, and they can actually look really interesting. And they'll sometimes go off on an angle or something, but it's not always in the right direction. But when you cut them off, then they kind of it stunts them a bit from their vertical growth and gets them more growing sort of horizontally. But they still look really interesting.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've taken and put some weights on different branches to kind of keep it from going straight up in the air.
Perfect.
Yeah, they all have their different personality. Every one of them has their own unique personality. When you're buying a weeping Norway spruce in the nursery, you can go through them, and the habit that they're formed in the nursery is the habit that they're going to have for the rest of their life. And so you really want to when you're buying one. Now that's not in your case, of course. You've already got one, Phyllis. But I think Ken is absolutely right. Probably the best time to spread. Now they're not gonna. It's not going to cause any by pruning now. It's not going to cause any exposure to frost or anything because they're very, very hardy. However, it's just a timing in the spring when you prune something. It immediately says to the plant, I want to grow.
Respond,
and so then you can take and train that nice new growth. If you prune in the fall, maybe that response is not going to be the same, is it, Kim?
Well, another factor is pruning in the fall opens a wound that is sometimes susceptible to disease.
Yeah.
And
that's what
I
I was kind of wondering. So is even towards the end of March okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say before middle of April would be the
When you
idea.
get back from Mexico, you can prune them.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to be back from Mexico until the 24th of March. So that's why I'm asking.
Lovely. Well,
and what about the cypress gold thread branch? Same scenario?
Same thing. Yeah.
Same timing. And, you just selectively remove twigs to achieve a shape you like. And, they're good.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks, guys.
Thanks,
and
Phyllis.
have a great day.
Yeah,
and you as well.
Too. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for calling.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of us in Kelowna and across the nation really follow Ken's advice because 99% of the time it's correct.
99. Is that it?
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Anyway, years ago, you talked about planting bulbs in bouquets, So I've planted some bouquets out there. I had some tulips that I'd got at one of the garden. If you join the garden club, you get to go and see gardens. You talk about the garden tour, which is a fun thing to do every year.
Yep.
Both the garden tour in Kelowna and the garden tour in Lake Country. But here's the deal. Garden, if you are a member of the garden club, people in the garden club open their gardens up to visitation, and you can go and see somebody else's garden and pick their brains and kind of get some ideas and whatnot. Mm-hmm. That's one of the benefits of joining the Kelowna Garden Club. Now, last year or 2 years, or maybe 3 years ago, in one of our visits to the gardens. One of the gardens, we were given some tulip bulbs, some red tulip bulbs. So that was great. It was just kind of a gift. And so we plunked them into our rockery. And our rockery, we've tried to focus on small stuff.
Yeah.
Everything miniature in the rockery. We don't want something to take over. We've removed a few things because it just got too wild.
Too big.
Big, yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, these tulips they're probably Darwin tulips, which is a late blooming, tall, big tulip, right? Mm-hmm. Didn't quite look right in our garden. Yeah. What looks right in our garden, we've already got is these dwarf miniature hyacinths. Mm-hmm. Not hyacinths, grape hyacinths, miniature grape hyacinths.
Yep.
And we've got some species tulips in there, some very tiny yellow and white species tulips.
Tardifs.
Those things work very well. And so everything miniature. So we've taken, in July, I dug those tulips up. And I left them in a pot, and I just found them actually just the other day. And they look perfect. They just look like they're bought from the store. They look so nice, ready to plant. So I planted those, and I planted some daffodils in clusters under the grapes and kiwis. We're going to look out the kitchen window every morning and see them in the spring. It's a fun thing, and we're planting bouquets, as Ken had suggested many years ago.
Yeah, and then the tarda, which is one of this yellow and white one, it's quite small. It's a species tulip, so when it does seed, it comes from seed, and it's just kind of fun. It's not one that's the best for cut flowers unless you're doing those little miniature ones, But it's such a beautiful yellow and white tulip. Very nice.
Going to have to take a short break here, Ken. We're going to do that, and we will be back with the Garden Show after this short break. How many of you out there remember the days when paperwhite narcissus were so popular? I mean, they're still a great thing to do, but certainly they do create quite the fragrance in the house.
Oh, wow!
If you're fragrant sensitive. Narcissus, paperwhite narcissus are not the ones you want to buy.
Yeah, they're like lilies times 10, I would say. Like a lily is, like I'm talking oriental lilies. They're quite fragrant, and I love the fragrance of those. But some people can't stand them, or it smells different to them. It smells like something bad. Well, the paperwhites are way more, I'd say, way more potent.
And I've been asked over the years, can you keep paperwhites from year to year? No, it's pretty difficult. There's some methodology you could use, I think, that might get them through, and you might be able to have some success. But they are a tropical bulb, and they not subtropical.
Subtropical.
They zone 9 to 10, I think they are 9-10, and but they are a nice thing. Kind of a tradition at Christmas to have a bowl of paper whites, either in water or in soil.
Yeah, well, it'd be interesting to hear from people from the Victoria area and whether they are have success with paper whites in their gardens there. They very well might. It's it's zone 8, zone 9 down there. So if they do have success, I mean, we've had some pretty brutal winters. The last 2 have been pretty tough for everyone, especially in coastal regions where some of the plants are just not good at surviving those cold snaps. But it'd be nice to hear from somebody if you've had success with paper whites. If
they've actually planted paper whites outside.
And if they've survived and come through even the last 2 years, because these last 2 winters, they're pretty tough.
Oh, yeah. You bet. We have Lisa joining us from Victoria, Speak of the Devil. How are you doing?
Good, thanks.
Good.
It's nice here. 13 degrees, and we survived the windstorm.
Oh, nice. Nice.
I'm just curious. We live in a 65-year-old house that my parents built, and there's a rhodo in the front. I have no idea what kind, but the leaves are turning color, but it's also starting to bloom. And I thought that was the most unusual thing. Have you heard that happening before?
Yeah. Well, what happens with a lot of rhododendrons? And we know rhododendrons can bloom at all different times of the year, but they're usually specific species for specific months. And the one month where it's really hard to get things to bloom is for sure going to be November. But what rhododendrons do is they'll form these buds in the summertime. So they start forming their flower buds for next year. And the first ones that form, and sometimes it's right at the end of June, they're already forming flower buds. Well, by the time you go all the way to the end of October, those blooms have literally come right through to fruition, and they're so close, and you just get a nice sunny day, and they pop and start to flower. So it's actually relatively common to see a few, rhododendron blooms, a few magnolia blooms, a few just blooms here and there on those plants that bloom in the spring normally. And they would just, like I say, they're just, some of those buds got advanced to the point where they're ready to pop, ready to go, and they just
So it's not a massive bloom that you're having there, Lisa, is it? It's just here and there.
Well, there's quite a few buds, but just a few starting to bloom.
Popping, the buds will be there because they're waiting for spring. And generally speaking, they need that cool winter to... and then the warming up in the spring triggers them. But just a couple
of them.
The confused rhododendron you have. You have a confused rhododendron.
Like me.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you very much.
Oh, Lisa, thanks for the call. We appreciate it.
That was a good question.
And thanks for the weather report. We appreciate it.
Oh, and I don't know about paperwhites, but we are narcissus and whatever's in the garden. They bloom every year.
Right.
I don't even dig them out. So
yeah, and the paperwhites are unique. I mean, we grow all the daffodils and narcissus family here as well, quite successfully, but just not paperwhites. They're a specialty, and we were just wondering if there's anyone in Victoria that's tried them over winter, because but I would suggest they would freeze there too.
I don't know. I specialize in dandelions, so there you go.
Okay, there you go.
Okay,
Take care.
Lisa.
Appreciate it, Lisa.
Okay,
yeah, bye now.
Bye-bye. Yeah, that's a really interesting question. Like my magnolia at home this summer, as it does every summer, starts blooming sporadically in August, and I start seeing a bloom here and a bloom there. Then September, I get a few more blooms. I'll get sometimes up to 100 blooms on the tree. It's a pretty good-sized tree, but up to 100 at a time blooming. But it's nothing like spring when I have 10,000.
Yeah, that's right.
And they all come on. Now, that being said, last year it was a cold spring. And we had, it was a cold winter, and a lot of those buds froze because these plants that bloom in the spring, they set their flowers in the summertime, and they have to keep that bud there all the way through the winter. And hopefully you don't get a severe cold snap that damages them, but it happens from time to time. In the last 2 years, I haven't had really good bloom on my magnolia, but there are some that are tougher than others, and they do okay. The actual stellatas, the small flowered white one, is actually one that's really, really tough. And mine came through without any issues the last 2 years. So, but I have Magnolia globosa, which is a zone 6 magnolia, and I live in a zone 5. So on the best years, it's never 100% bloom because you just lose a bunch. And it's got a lot of dead wood from the freezing. Like you can just see frost damage all over the place. It's just one of those things that came into a nursery before I bought the house. Somebody else saw this magnolia. Oh, here's a good one. They bought it, brought it home, planted it, and it lived, and it's still alive. It's got to be about, I would say, approaching probably 35 years old.
Wow.
Still alive, is still growing, but every year it's just tons of dead wood and stuff. So, yeah.
I had a classic, took some classic photographs of my buddy's rhododendron out in the Mission, Tony Conan's rhododendrons, and it was just so classic, Ken. The rhodie was in beautiful shape, really good shape, but every bud that from last year that was supposed to bloom this spring was just bone brown, dead. It got frozen. The buds got frozen. The plant itself was fine. And, of course, it depends on the variety. Some of the H1s, the rhododendrons, they're kind of classified in H's. They're a little bit more, they're hardy. And, of course, the Helsinki rhodies are definitely more hardy than others, but we didn't lose the plant, but we certainly lost the buds. And that's what happened with the cherry crops. What happened with the
hydrangeas? The hydrangea macrophyllus did not perform well this year. So it's the way it goes. I mean, you do get bad winters. It's just not a good thing that we've had 2 in a row, and it's looking like we're going to end up with another cold one this winter. And it's not again how cold it gets, but how long it gets cold. And they're saying that polar vortex is just not happening. And so just think of that, listeners, the polar vortex, you hear about it, and it's literally a spinning weather system that causes a negative vacuum effect that keeps all the cold air sucked up to the Arctic where it belongs, and then it just you just get these little blips through the normal winters that would happen, and that would be normal. And then when the vortex slows down, it doesn't pull it up to the north. The cold is allowed to sink down. It goes right into the U.S., and you get these long periods of really, really cold temperatures way farther south than what's normal. And so right now they're saying the vortex is the slowest it's been in 45 years. So I'm just saying, from a prediction standpoint, I'm predicting it's going to be similar to last 2 years.
You've told this depressing story once before, Ken, and it's very depressing.
Knowledge can be painful.
Yeah, I tell you. Well, I got the greenhouse just packed full of stuff, and I pretty well sorted out. I just texted Donna by mandevilla vine. I forgot it's planted in the ground near my trellis, so I got to get it out. But there's all, you're walking around the yard.
Still
what do we need
What
do we need? I've got this beautiful, beautiful planter. It's a concrete sink. Faux concrete, and it's full of beautiful succulents, echeverias and sedums and whatnot. And I've got it in the workshop right now. I mean, it weighs about 1,500 pounds.
Yeah.
And I got it in the workshop. I can't stand it. I can't stand seeing these guys freeze. Okay, we're going to take a short break now for the news and whatnot, and we'll be back with the Garden Show after this short break. And we're back with you on a beautiful Saturday morning. Jack is joining us. Good morning, Jack. Hello, Jack.
Over some callas, you probably noticed them in your...
I did. Yeah. I meant to phone you. Thank you very much.
Doesn't matter. Look, while at your place, I noticed you have a hydrangea, the little white one, like the white snow ones. They're like a light bulb. You know the one I mean? You got a small one. I've got a much larger one.
Hydrangea?
Isn't it a hydrangea? It's turning brown now. It's got the little white flowers on it, but they turn brown, and you've got one in your garden.
Now, are you talking about the one that's a standard, the one on your right-hand side when you're coming around to the backyard?
I assume it is, yeah.
Yeah, it's on a stem, right? It's yeah. That's
you have an Annabelle in the
front.
And
I've got an Annabelle out front. The one that's on a standard is a PG. Of some sort. I can't remember the name of it, but I did.
Well, it's similar, and it's the same as the one I've got, except mine is bigger, and they're like cones.
That's PG. Yeah, that's
okay.
PG.
Now, my question is, how do I cut them back? They're all brown now and ready to go. How far down can I cut them back, or just cut the flowering part off?
Well, at this point, Jack, I would just cut the flowers off.
Okay.
If you want to do some, like we just talked about all that trimming chat earlier on, and I think with a hydrangea, it's one woody plant that you want to wait till spring before you prune it.
Okay.
But you can clean it up. You can tidy it up right now. But
and the bigger ones, then the balls, the beautiful blues and.
Oh yeah, those. Yeah, well, you've got to be careful.
Just take the top off. Just take the flower off.
Just the flower itself. Yeah.
Yeah,
leave it till the spring.
Yeah, you bet.
You got to maintain those stems because they bloom best on the old wood.
That's right. They bloom on older wood, whereas your PGs and your Annabelles, your arborescens type, they bloom on new wood.
Yeah. Okay. So in other words, don't cut them back because they're beautiful now and bring them in as a flower. Just cut the tops off.
Yeah, just the flowers.
The flowers. Yep.
Yeah, the flowers will be blind likely next year. Those stems. So even if you just cut the flower off, they're not really going to bloom much. But anything that grew this year is likely to bloom next year. So.
Okay. They came on like gangbusters in the last 3 months of the year. They were ready to pull them out at the beginning.
Did you see my Barcelona beans when you were in?
I saw them, yeah. They're looking pretty good. And you've got to figure out how to trim them, keep them under control like you have. You seem to... Yeah,
well, there's only 2 plants there, Jack.
Well, I know there's only 2 plants, but it looks like there's 6 or 7, and you've got them trained so that they don't go up to the roof.
Yeah, they're all... I've got them all climbing up wires. Look at... what's the best way to save some of that seed? I've let some of them grow into big beans.
Easy, and if you haven't saved them already, I got more. All you got to do is just take off the beans and put them. I put them in the basement in a bag, and I've got some ready to shell. I mean, the outer shell disintegrates like powder, and you're left with the bean inside, and that's as simple as that.
Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you something interesting. I took some of the beans and a big fat bean,
the ones.
And I opened it up. And I put the beans in this little Tupperware type container.
Yeah.
And I forgot about them. They were just sitting in my greenhouse shed. And I looked at them the other day, and the darn things are germinating.
Well, they must have been moist when you got to wait till they dry out.
Exactly.
I'm telling you something. But,
no, that's exactly what it was. Yeah.
And the Barcelona bean, you wait till they. they dry out, and the bigger seeds, I guess, the better. And they look pretty old, even though they're good to eat, even when they're old.
I know.
And just dry them out, and there you go. If you need some, I got lots.
Okay, Jack. Now, just tell me again the story. Would you put a few in your pocket when you're in Barcelona?
No, no, I'm not a thief. No, I bought a bag of them.
Oh, you bought a bag of it. Okay.
I bought them for about €5 on the Ramblas, and beautiful place in Barcelona. Yeah, and I brought them home, and I brought 2 bags, smaller ones than that one, and apparently it's not legal. I didn't know that.
It's hard to say, isn't it? I mean, it's hard to say with seed. The big thing they worry about is soil coming over. But on the other hand, plants, there's lots to do with that too. But look at Jack. Did you remember the name that was on the package?
No, that would have been too easy, wouldn't it?
Okay. And you didn't save the package, of course.
Of course not.
Okay, Jack. Thanks for the call.
I just call them Barcelona beans.
That's what I'm calling them.
All right. Good. Thank you, guys.
Take care, buddy.
Thanks,
okay.
Jack. Take care.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
We have Pam joining us. Good morning, Pam.
Hey, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
I have a seed-related question. For the first time ever, a Swiss chard plant of mine has threw up this really wild alien stalk, and I just ignored it a while ago, and I have noticed that it is full of seeds, but I haven't got the slightest clue of. I mean, it's getting to the time when I'm going to have to pick them whether they're ripe or not. But what's the sense of? I was waiting for them to kind of turn brownish, but they're not doing that.
Yeah, it might be a bit early yet, to like it happens to me every year. Is like I haven't planted Swiss chard in, I would say 4 years at least, but I have Swiss chard everywhere every year. So it's because I do let them go to seed. I let them grow right through to fruition, and I just leave them in, and they go in, and they get a little bit of frost and stuff, and then because they are quite frost resistant, those plants, and the seeds seem to set better if you just leave them a bit longer. And then what you could do, and it is better, like especially if you want to have a consistent crop, is to actually wait as long as you can, then go cut the seed head off, bring it inside, put it on a piece of newspaper, and dry it right out so it's nice and dry. Then you can collect those seeds, so remove them from the stems, and put them in a little bag, like a little paper bag, put them in the fridge. And they're good to go till spring. In the spring, pull them out, plant them, and they'll just go like crazy.
So put them in the fridge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most seeds should be stored in the refrigerator just to keep them from, going backwards or, decaying or having problems. So the fridge keeps them fresh, just like other foods we eat. But the seeds will last for months and months and months in the fridge. And a lot of seeds even will survive the freezer without too much problem.
Exactly.
It's just like with beans, we were just talking about saving these beans. And beans being a little bit of a bigger seed, some types of beans may suffer some frost injury, but they would do good in the refrigerator. So, because my beans, they actually self-seeded as well and came through. They shot up the next year. But I found that the beans that I grew, I had hybrid varieties, so the beans that came back were not the same variety. So they were not as good.
Doesn't that add to the interest, though?
Yeah,
I love it. I love it in the spring when I literally go over to my garden beds and go, okay, who is showing up this year?
Yeah.
And then I will notice that my calendula has dumped a whole bunch over here. Oh, okay, you're not all going to live there, but if I just thin you out and spread you around, perfect.
Sure. Lettuce too.
I'm not trying to undermine the garden centers, but you really can do a lot with your own seeds, and you don't even have to be very organized to do it.
I hate to say it, but I often go down between the rows in the springtime. Like I have raised beds, so in the walkways, I get all kinds of stuff growing up: spinach and lettuce, and some of my best romaine lettuce was just self-seeded in the aisleway. So I went through and I pulled them all out and put them in rows in the garden bed. It looked like we were doing a great job.
Yeah,
I know,
that was great.
That's the thing. Now, just before I go, I also want to just put a shout-out to the Kelowna Seed Library. Anybody listening who has an abundance of seeds, perhaps thinks they may have more seeds than they will be able to manage, don't want to store them all, would like to share, the library has a seed library. Like the book library has a seed library.
Nice.
Didn't know that.
if you take your seeds to the library, they will package them up. Like, just label them. They don't even. I asked, you want them in a particular kind of envelope? Because when I went and borrowed seeds, it's kind of funny. Check out seeds in the spring. They had this system where you could take out seeds, and their encouragement was to please bring back seeds in the fall. So here we are in the fall. So just a heads up for any seed collectors who would like to share, contact the library or literally put your seeds, identify them some way. The library will package them appropriately. And then next spring, if anybody needs seeds, go to the library, ask where the seed library is, a little box of envelopes of those seeds. And they were also at CD Sunday. I think that's where I connected with them. And it's just a really cool way to keep the food going. People that are have marginal income and maybe can't afford to buy seeds, because gosh, the commercially packed seeds are pricey.
They're getting up there. Yep.
They're getting up there. And I'm not dissing companies. I'm not saying people shouldn't buy seeds, but I just love the idea of sharing, and it's just another possibility for our gardening community just to share. I encourage each other.
I just love it that we're talking about seeds.
Yeah,
because that means spring. It will be here sooner or later.
They're waiting. We got
hang on to the hope, right?
Yeah, we got November, December, January, February to look after first. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Pam,
well, thanks, guys.
We appreciate the call. Thanks for calling. Take care.
Okay.
Bye now.
Bye bye.
We are going to take that break, that quarter-hour break, and we'll be back with the Garden Show after this short break. Well, I found a home for 4 of my large plants that I had, that big stick euphorbia and a large jade plant and a cactus of some sort.
Your fire sticks. Euphorbia. You did find a spot.
I did. Matt took them.
Oh.
At the plant gatherer. He took them.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Nice.
So they've got they're sitting there in the plant gatherer's spot there at the north end of town, and so they're probably going to be for sale. So there you go.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, so I got to remind people that the new calendar for the Historical Society, the Okanagan Historical Society, the Kelowna branch, has their calendar out for this year, the 2025 calendar, and it's celebrating 100 years of rail in Kelowna. The railroad came in 1924 into Kelowna, and that's 100 years ago. And the calendar is not focused on rail, on trains and that sort of thing. It's just a lot of old pictures that you don't see normally. I mean, there's certain published pictures that are sort of common of old pictures. But a lot of the pictures they use in the calendar, they get from private sources that it hasn't been public before. So they're kind of cool, interesting way to go. Yeah, I get one every year, and we buy a few for gifts as well. And I'm out in the shop right now making boxes and door prizes for the bus for the Seattle trip. I try and make sure everybody on the bus gets something from my workshop. Hooks, boxes, plant hangers, pizza paddles, all sorts of
we use our pizza paddle all the time.
Do you?
Yep. Yeah, it's fabulous.
Just make sure you don't put it in the dishwasher like Peter Padden did. They put it in the dishwasher, and it all came apart, of course.
Yeah, that may happen.
Can't be doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was the Northwest Flower and Garden Festival that's coming up next February.
Yes, that's for the
Get on the bus.
Get on the bus. Keith is joining us. Good morning, Keith.
Good morning, guys.
Hey.
Good morning.
Well, you're talking about seeding, and I was just wondering, I got patches in my grass that I want to put seed down.
Yeah.
Now, I've got this coated seed, and I've done the preparation and everything. Is it okay to put it in now?
I would suggest you could put it in now. I've scratched into the snow when it's come up in the spring. The only thing is, the coated stuff, maybe the birds aren't going to eat that.
Yeah, and the birds are, they're a little more finicky than what I think, but you got to dig it in a bit, right? to have success. So you scratch up the surface, you put your seed down, regardless of the type of seed. You kind of scratch it in with a rake a bit, and then you take a hard rake and you kind of lightly tamp it. So on the top with the head of the rake, and that just gets it slightly buried, in the surface, and then let that go through the winter. And so it may or may not germinate. It might just sit there till spring, but it's ready to rip and it's ready to go. So
it'll sit dormant over the winter.
Oh yeah, and then in the spring, first opportunity, couple nice days. It needs a little bit of warmth, and then away it goes.
Needs some moisture too. Here's a story. I mean, that I mentioned that I scratched grass seed into the snow. It was up at Mrs. Bannister's place near the golf course on Fairway Crescent there, and this was back in the '60s. And we scratched this seed. I don't know when it was. It was in November. Sometimes we scratched this seed into the snow. In the spring, in the open areas where there was moisture, it came up like hair on a dog's back. Under the trees where it was dry, it didn't come up. But as soon as they watered under there, it did come up. But where it was shaded from the moisture, it didn't come up. It was fascinating.
That's okay. Well, that answers. I just got one quick one for you, guys.
Okay.
When I think they're called amaryllis?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
When do they come out? Like in the garden centers?
Oh, they should be out there now. They should be in the garden centers now. Amaryllis.
I had to look around because they're just beautiful. Yeah.
Easy to do and very enjoyable. And if you treat them right, you'll come back year after year for you.
They will.
Yeah, you can save them over the year. Have them bloom every winter for you. Yeah.
How do you store them?
Well, there's all sorts of methods, but some people, like Dan Bruce, doesn't take his out of the pots. It's just got a cluster of them in there, and he just leaves them in this big, huge pot. And it just comes and grows and seems to do well for him every year. But it all depends on the variety you have and whatnot. But my sheet, if you want to email me, I can send you my sheet on amaryllis and the procedure and how to bring it through and have it bloom from year to year.
Yeah, they're gorgeous.
Yeah, they're great. Big, huge flower, just like a big. Well, we used to compare them way back. Remember when we had those air raid sirens and they had the big, huge speaker on top? Well, Ken, you're too young to remember that.
Yeah.
And it was big, huge horn on the top of a long pole, and they had these big, huge horns facing in different directions. And it used to remind us of, or the amaryllis used to remind us of those, but we don't have those anymore.
Looked like a lily.
Yeah, there was one of those right down by Knox School on Bernard Avenue. There's one of those big horns that would go
generally,
off.
when you do buy those bulbs, the bigger the bulb is, the more flowers you get, and the more stems you get.
They got to be 5 inches in diameter.
Yeah, the big ones. Yeah, you pay a little more money for the large ones, but they're sure worth it.
Yeah, they're really nice.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
okay, Keith.
Thanks again, fellas.
Thanks for the call.
For calling.
Appreciate it. Take care.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye-bye now. Yeah, it's definitely one of those things that are traditional at this time of year. Paperwhites used to be very, very traditional at Christmas. They still have them out there, but they're not nearly as popular as they used to be back in the day. Dwayne Amendrud, we mentioned Dwayne a few times on the radio because he's a friend of ours that passed away this past spring after a battle of about a year and a half with some cancer. And he had a collection of plants second to none. I mean, some of the stuff there was so rare that it's crazy, the stuff he had. And, of course, he really was determined to see it get a home before he passed away. One of the things I got from him was this cristate euphorbia, that little gray one, the nice cristata. And
cristata.
When he cut me a piece off his big one was
huge,
1.5 to 2 feet in diameter. It was a huge thing.
About a 75-pounder.
Yeah, and it was grafted on top of another tall euphorbia. It was grafted.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And I tried doing that, but it didn't make. So anyway, what he said to me at the time was, he said, just leave that euphorbia out in the open on the bench. Maybe it can be in the greenhouse, or
not potted up.
Not potted, just laying
just
there.
The cutting.
And he said, when you start seeing these little nubs forming, these little nubs coming from the cut where it's cut off. You'll see these little nubs forming.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. And I did that. I waited for the nubs to form. Then I put it in some potting soil, give it a good drink, and I just let it go dry. And then I give it a good drink, let it go dry. And it's growing like a son of a gun. It's just
It's
really
beautiful.
happy.
It's a very cool plant.
Except this spring, when I was at Dwayne's place and Sue let us get into the greenhouse and get some more plants, there was a really interesting euphorbia, that crooked euphorbia, green one. And the plant was too big to take home, so I cut a chunk off, right? Mm-hmm. And when I got home, I took this euphorbia and I plunked it into a pot, and and be darned if it didn't rot. The stuff that was in the soil is rotted, and the rot was working its way up the stem into this main plant. So I took it out of there. I cut it off above the rot, well above the rot, and I've still got a piece of about 5 or 6 inches of this thing.
Yep.
And now I've got it laying on the bench.
Yes.
I'm going to wait for the nubs to come.
Absolutely.
So I learned something there, and I highly recommend people to, if you're doing that kind of thing on a succulent, hey, you've seen pieces of succulent laying on the floor shooting roots out.
Oh, yeah.
They're an amazing group of plants.
Yeah, they just want
succulents.
to keep living. And similar to some of like the echeverias and these things where they have little individual leaves, or even some of the sedums, or like the jade plants, crassula.
Crassulas,
But those leaves fall on the ground, and all of a sudden you see roots coming out of that.
I know.
But one thing that I actually tried it is that if you take those leaves and you let them dry for a few days, and even a week or so, and so the end of it becomes completely dry and it kind of seals itself off. Then you take a glass of water, and then you put a piece of or like saran wrap or stretch wrap over the top with an elastic band around it, ideally, so it holds it in place. Then you just poke a tiny little hole in the shrink wrap or the saran wrap, and then you take those little leaflets and you just put the base of it through that little hole. And so it's not touching the water. It's just really humid in there, right? So just the tip of it is humid, and the rest of the leaf is sitting on the top of
That's a good idea.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, within just a short time, you're starting to see these white roots come out, and they're going, I can detect water. It's not wet, but I can detect it. It's nearby.
Ken, and I think that might be, I've only got the one chunk left of this euphorbia, so I don't want to play around with it too much.
No.
But I'm going to try it on some other plants and try that.
Works good for the echeverias.
Yeah.
That group, echeverias, echeverias.
Okay, we've got to take a short break. We're at the bottom of the hour here, and that's what we're going to do. Give us a shout if you want to talk gardening. We're here to talk gardening, and we'll be back with the Garden Show after this short break. We got a few minutes left in the Garden Show, right through to 10 o'clock today. And we, as normal, this has been going on since 1983, folks. 1983 we started this Garden Show.
Yeah.
And it's been firing off every Saturday morning since then. Carolyn is joining us. Good morning, Carolyn.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
I have to say, I think I've probably listened to your show since 1983.
I bet you have, Carolyn. You don't sound like you were even born then, but that's,
Oh, keep it up. And I live in a condo, and it's about 21 years old. We have a vine that covers a cement wall here that's really starting to suffer. And I don't know if it's old age or if we can prune it back or if we have to replace it. I was wondering if there was a chance of one of you folks coming and looking at it.
Well, we can do that. You'll have to give me a shout or you can send us pictures. But I'm going to assume, Carolyn, that this is a English ivy, Hedera helix.
It is not. No.
It's not, eh?
No. You came and looked at it probably close to 10 years ago, and there was you gave us a report on it and stuff, but unfortunately those records are long gone. And anyway, we need to do something with it. And I tried to find you in the phone book and couldn't find you, and I'm wondering how I can contact you.
Well, I'm still in the book, but under Burnett, Don Burnett. But look at you can phone me at home on my cell phone 250 878 6878.
878-6878.
Yeah, or you can email me, don@thegardenexpert.com.
Yeah. Okay, maybe
we'll connect.
Give you
we'll connect.
Call after the show,
and you can send pictures. But I'll tell you, if you give me a date, I've got the record. If I made a report on that thing, I would have a record of it.
Okay, maybe we'll talk about that on the phone
you bet.
rather than over the radio.
Yeah. Okay, Carolyn.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah,
okay,
thanks for calling.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That's the beauty of electronic filing, Ken. Back in the day when I wasn't using a computer, back in the 70s and 80s, we started using computers really in the late 70s, but it was not the same as we have now with our PCs and whatnot. My filing system was really just like a junk drawer. We had these beautiful filing cabinets in the office, and my filing cabinet, my secretary's filing cabinet was just lined up perfect, all labeled and everything like this, all in alphabetical order, all neat.
Chronological.
Mine, it was just a dumping place for stuff, and I might as well just have it in a drawer.
Filing is a talent. There's no doubt.
But since I started, working with computers, my filing is the neat thing is there's a search engine. It's not like going into the filing cabinet trying to find something. You just search for it in the computer. And I have my records right back to 1997, 1998, when I first started working with a PC. And I've got all those records. Everything is there. All my reports, everything is there.
Yeah.
In the computer and stored, and I can search for it. I can just search for a name and it'll come up. And
technology has changed the world, that's for sure. Even for us on my website growercoach.com, we sell consultations, so landscape consultations to actually go to site here in the Okanagan, and that's pretty much as far as we can go. But also we're going to be introducing virtual consultations.
Oh, great!
So that's where I don't have to come to site, and it's a lot less expensive for people. And
this sounds like the doctor's appointments through COVID.
It's sort of like that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, why not? Because that just opens up the ability for, if people do have issues or problems, it opens it up to the entire listening audience, basically, and anybody even who tunes in on YouTube, or listening to podcasts, that sort of thing on YouTube. I'll be able to put the advertising there, and that's coming soon. It's not quite there for the virtual ones yet, but it will be before the new year for sure. So I'm still working on it.
Well, I was showing you some of the pictures of you talk about filing and cataloging and whatnot. I was cataloging all my plants, right?
Yeah.
And when you take a picture of a plant, and it's in amongst other plants, it's pretty hard to discern what part of that plant is actually part of that plant and not part of another plant. Exactly. And so I've set up a black background. It's working out very well. There are, professional backgrounds you can buy, but the one I was looking at online is like $500. It's a special felt material that the light doesn't.
It absorbs
the light.
Yeah, perfectly. Yeah.
But this is working out pretty good. I've shown you a few of the pictures, and I've made a stand so that I can put my hanging plants on it. And show them off.
Yeah, that's fabulous, because you need to document those things, that's for sure, especially some of these really rare and unusual ones that you have. We've done some videos on them, and they're on YouTube, so if people want to check those out. But it's still, like you say, even on a video, you can see it, but you don't see all the little tiny details. And I've seen some of your pictures now, so maybe we'll be able to utilize some of those in the future in a video so that people can learn about those plants. Yeah, very cool.
Well, it's a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying this plant collecting. It's getting so that the ones that are common don't mean as much to me anymore. Like I don't have a pothos in my greenhouse. Mind you, we've got a couple of pothos in the house, and some of the plants in the greenhouse have been stored over winter in the house. But in the summer, I love bringing them out, and they just thrive. They just love being outside in the Okanagan. Some of them need protection from the heat of the sun.
Yeah.
Others thrive in full sun.
And we talk about it all the time on how to integrate your plants from, say, indoors to outdoors, and then vice versa from outdoors to indoors. And so plants have to go through an adaptation period of time that really, really is important to get it figured out and get the timing right and follow the directions.
Right.
I know I've done also videos on that. It's one of the things that, with the access to YouTube these days, it's changing everything. The trick is trying to find stuff that is relevant and with somebody that you can trust, that knows what they're talking about. That's the issue on YouTube is you get a lot of people that really, really don't have much of an idea, but they can still do videos,
Yeah.
But that being said, you find somebody good and you stick with them and follow them. And, if you need, like for us, if you need a video on a specific topic, just ask. We'll just pop it out. Boom, there you go. Within a week or so, we'd have that video up and going, how to do certain things. And it's just nothing like it.
You bet. Well, give us a shout, 250-862-2525 to get through to us if you're listening locally here in Kelowna. If you're online or you're listening from Victoria or anywhere out of our listening area here in Kelowna, 1-888-780-4273 is a free call. It's paid for, of course, all paid for, and you don't have to worry about it. Of course, nowadays, there's very little worry about phone calls anyway, right?
No, the cell phone industry is taking over the world.
Yeah.
So,
except I'm still in the book.
Yeah.
I'm still in the book. I am still in the book, Ken. If you want to look me up, you can do that. I'm in the telephone book. Does everybody know what a telephone book is?
Nope, never heard of it.
Yeah, right. We've got Edwin joining us. Good morning, Edwin.
Good morning.
Yeah.
We lost our peaches this year, like everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me when or what to expect to know if we're going to have peaches next year? Like, are the buds popping now for the peaches, or do they start in the spring, or what happens with
they
that?
fruit on any growth that grew this year. So whatever grew this year will fruit next year. So it's more those, anything on the tree, that grows. Okay. So like, you get a new branch grows and it's 5 feet long or 4 feet long, and any of those buds can produce fruit and typically do. But where the rubber hits the road is in the middle of winter. If we do get the cold snap, anything that goes beyond about minus 25, like that's about the limit for peaches. You hit minus 25, you might get a few peaches. But if it goes past that, as far as cold, that's in Celsius, obviously, minus 25 Celsius, you would, you probably wouldn't get anything. And that's what's happened in the last 2 years is that it wasn't as bad 2 years ago, but it was still bad. We lost a lot of peaches. But this past year, minus 33, that just knocked them for a loop. So so we're hoping this winter we don't quite hit that. And depending where you live, you can have areas that are a little bit better protected. But it is what it is.
So don't prune any branches this year.
Well, what you do is you can prune the tips of them off and reduce the length of them, but you have to maintain some of that new growth. Okay. And, on peach trees, they usually have a little bit of a reddish tint to the bark, You can kind of tell, and it's on the ends of the shoots. And so when you're pruning, and then after that, you'll note that if it does fruit, peaches overproduce because they're hybridized to produce on every single bud that was there from last year. So always thin your fruit if you do get fruit, so that they get bigger, right?
Well, there was no peaches, but I'll tell you, this tree, I think, grew 6 feet this year.
Ah, that's good news.
Sometimes that's the way it works, when you have a rough winter and some fruit is lost, the tree really wants to grow that year and says, hey, let's get going. So maybe next year you're going to have a bumper crop.
I don't know. It sure grew. It towers over the plum tree now.
Yeah, they grow. Typical we would see on peach trees is about 6 to 7 feet of vertical growth.
Okay.
So
thank you, guys.
Okay, buddy. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks for calling.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
We're going to take a break now, and we'll come back with the final leg of the garden show. We'll be back with the garden show after this short break. You betcha. We're back with you for the final leg of the garden show, and we're going to talk to Rachel. Hi, good morning.
Hi, good morning. Calling from Victoria.
Nice.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you a couple of questions. The first one is about my 9-bark. I have a dark one, and it's curled leaves, and I was wondering if you've come across that at all. It's been going on now for about, I'd say maybe 3 months. It started out beautifully in the spring, and then all of a sudden it almost looks like it's not watered enough, kind of limp.
Those Diablos, they get mildew. I know that. They're prone to mildew. And also, I'm wondering, aphids, do you think, Ken?
Well, it could be, but the number one thing is with the mildew is that if those leaves are curling under and then they almost form like a solid mass and they kind of go dark in color, like a dark brown sort of color, or sometimes white. Are you seeing any of that discoloration, or are they just curling under?
They're just curling.
Okay,
they still have that lovely maroon color.
Okay, good. Well, so then what you do is you'll just want to uncurl those and just carefully have a look under there to see. You may have had a little aphid infestation that's happened, and it really doesn't bother the tree very much, so you don't really have to do anything about it. From year to year, you'll have years that are worse than others, and sometimes even just a hard spray with a garden hose can help. But at this point, those aphids may not even be there now because what they do is they overwinter on a different species of plant. So they'll be there through the summer, and they're sucking juices out of the leaves, and that's why the leaves will curl under like that. And then what happens is usually when the temperatures start reducing and the day length starts shortening, then they all fly away and they fly off to a different plant where they overwinter. So chances are if you open those up, you may not see anything there, but they were there and they've caused that little bit of damage to the leaf, but it shouldn't be anything to worry about. As long as the leaf has still got its color and whatnot, that means that the leaf is still functioning and good, and it doesn't have that mildew that we're talking about. And just remember, they don't like a lot of water, those plants. So don't feel like they need more water. If anything, I just don't really water them at all.
Oh wow!
Even here in the Okanagan, we're a desert.
Yeah, they're very drought tolerant. 9-barks.
Okay, well that sounds wonderful. Yeah. Can I ask you also about my Japanese Stewartia? I just planted it about last summer, and I was really excited because the buds were coming, and it was a beautiful, beautiful plant when it first opened, and then it was totally attacked by bugs.
Oh, yeah.
So I was wondering is there anything that I can do to prevent that from happening again in the springtime?
What type of bugs?
Well, I know they flew, and they weren't bees, but they were smaller than that. They weren't white flies or anything. I have no idea, but they're like black and small, and I have no idea.
Sometimes we see these and they're just like they're guilty without any kind of court case, and maybe it's something else, and you're seeing the plant suffering, and then you see these bugs and you blame them. I'm just saying that happens quite a bit.
And sometimes when a plant is sick or struggling, then sometimes those insects will come in and take advantage of it. So it's a newly planted plant, so they're stressed. And stressed out plants will attract insects.
Well,
and that sort of thing.
I should have mentioned the leaves were totally eaten.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So they were munched. I was wondering if it might have been one of those insects that rolls up the leaves and then flies away.
It could be. I'll tell you what, if you could send some pictures, email me or Ken, and we'll chat. We've got a couple of calls waiting here. We're going to have to say goodbye, but we do appreciate your call.
Yes, send us pictures.
Yeah, no problem at all. I'll do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Bye-bye.
And Miriam is joining us. Good morning, Miriam.
Yes, hi, Don. Thank you for taking my call. In the spring, my mother got a Roma tomato plant, just a small one in a 4-inch pot, from her 94-year-old friend who still grows a big garden every year. Anyway, so I put it in the garden, and the plant looked like a huge shrub. I just harvested the tomatoes 2 days ago and got a total of 74 Roma tomatoes from this one plant, and there were still some little ones that I just threw out, probably another half a dozen or so. So now they're all green, though, still. can I just put them, now, should I put them in I've got a cool room downstairs and just lay them down there on some, paper, cover them or don't cover them, or in just a regular, room upstairs where you have heat?
We just keep ours, and we've got the same plant, kind of these beautiful Roma tomatoes that didn't ripen. But you know what? We brought them all in green, and they're all ripening for us. They're really doing well. So ours are just in a bowl in the kitchen, and laying them out on some newspaper might be a better idea for you. Keep them from touching each other.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think it'd be fine. Yeah,
just like not in a cool room, especially. Just
a cool room's fine, but kitchen, our kitchen is just room temperature, and they're doing well.
Yes, and my cherry tomatoes were abundant as well. I've got 5 boxes full, like laying side by side, 5 boxes full.
Nice.
So I will be sharing a lot of them with my neighbors because my mother passed away last month. So now I've got all of these tomatoes, and I don't want them to go to waste.
Well, she'll be upset with you if you let them go to waste.
Yes, she was a big gardener and always listened to the garden show every every Saturday morning.
Condolences.
That was the first thing she did was turn that radio on.
Well, our condolences to you.
Anyway,
Mary.
Thank you.
Okay.
And I thank you so much for your show. I'm now the watcher.
Okay, dear.
I'm the listener.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Care. Thank you so much for listening.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
And we have Sharon joining us, probably
Good
the last
morning.
caller.
I'm phoning from Saanich, and it's beautiful here, and I will talk really fast.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a whole batch of tulip, Tulipa type of tulips.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean?
Tulipa? Well, that's just the botanical name of tulips.
Okay. Oh, great. And I've got single earlies and single lates and some doubles. And in the ground, I know how to plant that because there's instructions. Do I need bone meal or blood meal, and when do I do that? And also, how deep do I plant them in the pots? Because the pots, you don't plant them like normal as you would do in the ground, would you?
Well, you're planning on forcing them for indoors later?
No, for outdoors, because I have 150 bulbs, and there's no way of planting all that.
Just plant them into pots. In the Victoria area, they're very, they're fine. They're not going to freeze in the pot. They won't be problematic there. Plant them into pots with some nice potting soil, or not garden soil. Use some potting soil in the pots.
Like number 4 or something.
Number 4 mix is great. Yeah,
okay.
And
keep them outside.
Put them up against the house on the south side of the house just for the winter, just up against the house if you can, at the base of the house there.
Do I need to water them or not? Oh, sorry.
You want to water them in. You want to make sure they're well watered.
Always?
Well, you don't keep watering them, but once they're in the pots, you should soak them first, and but don't keep water. You don't want them to rot or anything like that.
Okay.
Okay.
And the other thing is, do I need to fertilize? Add some bone meal or blood meal to it? I get them mixed up, and
it's always, the bone meal has been something we've always mentioned as good when you're planting bulbs. Okay. We don't mention it as much anymore, but it's not going to hurt. So it might be an idea, help with the formation of blooms and whatnot. Okay?
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, dear.
Have a great weekend.
Yeah.
Appreciate the call.
Bye. Yeah, thanks for calling. Bye-bye.
And we're just getting close to the end here.
We are.
Ken, another show has slipped through our fingers, just like that.
Just like that. Oh, my goodness.
And we will start the tips in a few minutes here, a few seconds here. But I just want to remind you to phone Sun Fun Tours if you want to get on the bus to Seattle in February. Give them a call. They'll give you all the detail there. Or you can even look on Facebook. I have a post on my wall on Facebook, all to do with it. We're going to start tips right now. My tip of the week this week is there's 2 things to do before it freezes up. Keep a couple of bags of mulch somewhere where it won't get frozen solid in case it's needed to protect something and the winter gets real cold. And drain at least 1 garden hose in case it's needed to be when it's frozen outside. If you need that hose and it's all frozen up, forget it. Plant of the week is the Acer rubrum, the autumn spire, which is really showing off all over town now. Huge trees, though. Be careful when you put one of those babies in that you got room, some elbow room.
Mm-hmm. All right. I also have a tip and a plant. My tip of the week is that if you want to grow a tree, shrub, or perennial from seed, you need to plan ahead and make sure you gather those now, but you should also plant them straight outside right now. So mark a little area, plant those seeds in the ground about an inch deep or so, and let them survive the winter outside in the cold, and that winter will actually trigger them to sprout in the spring and grow. So when you're growing hardy plants, you plant them right now in the fall. All right, now my plant of the week is the Miscanthus Goliath, which is one of these giant red-plumed grasses. It grows about 8 feet high by 10 feet wide and have these burgundy to red-colored plumes that bloom in the fall. So a lot of these ornamental grasses are a fall interest and something to be considered. All right, there you go. That's my tips and plants for this week. Remember to check growercoach.com and Grower Coach on YouTube.
Yeah, and we'll probably see you in November. That's about it. I think this is the last show in October.
Yeah, I think so.
We're going to give you the Shigo quote of the week, and that is Walt Disney said you must first get people to say wow, and then when you go on to entertainment, and finally you educate them. And that's my Shigo quote of the week. We'll see you next week with more of The Garden Show.